Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker. And today, in our journey to better understand fibers and fiber types in our wonderful fiber journey, we are going to be talking about nylon. So I know this is a bit of a departure from where we've been talking about sheep wool for the last couple of videos. However, I have gotten a lot of requests and a lot of questions about nylon in particular. So I thought, since we're done with our primary sheep breeds, now would be a good time to mention nylon. Is one of the primary places we see nylon is with sock yarns that are some form of wool, along with a 10 to 25% nylon content. So I am very excited about this, and I am very nervous about this because I know this is one of those things that these next two videos in this series, they're kind of hot button conversation items for, we will generously call them purist. Now, I have no problem with, 100% wool product or 100% alpaca product or whatever. I do prefer blends because I personally feel when you blend fibers together, it's kind of like wine. Some of my favorite wines are blended wines. You can reduce the tannins in a red wine. You can brighten the sweetness without making it, like drinking candy. Blends can give you the best of multiple worlds of grapes. When it comes to wool blends, you can get, some added strength and durability, maybe some more elasticity. You can get something that's a little bit more breathable. There's so many things you can do, so many components that you can combine to make like the perfect yarn for ... when you fiber blend yarns. But I also understand somebody who wants, a 100% wool sweater. Or if they're going to make a wedding dress, they want 100% cotton or silk or whatever it is. I also understand purist mentality. So I'm kind of I understand both camps, even though I, for my own preference, fall towards blends. I understand both sides. I also understand the environmental and ecological impact of synthetic and biosynthetic yarn. But as far as the fiber landscape is concerned, I did want to talk to you guys about what to know about nylon and how it behaves, the characteristics within our yarny world. So in the thumbnail, you will have seen I was holding two different examples here of nylon yarn. This is a faux fur from about 2014. It is, I believe, a Fintex faux fur. This is my all-time favorite faux fur yarn to use. It is beautifully slippery, super shiny. It works great carrying along with all sorts of different things. I've used this to make stuffies. I've used this to trim out things. I've just held it with a wool yarn one time. I've got it in a couple different colors still. It's one of those, when it's gone, I'm going to be so sad, even though I rarely use it. I probably haven't even used it since I started this channel, except for maybe once or twice. I know I've gifted a couple bags of it, and it always breaks my heart to do that. But I am not a faux fur girl, but if you're going to use faux fur, like I said, I think this was Fintex, but this beautiful 100% nylon yarn is definitely my favorite. And then I was also holding up this beautiful sock set from Southern Skeins. If you want more information about Southern Skeins Sock Club, I reviewed their regular yarn club a while back in my subscription box review series. This was just a yarn that I got in a mystery box from them. But I do love her dyeing. They're very pretty yarns. But this is on her 75% merino, 25% nylon base. And of course, my camera's auto-adjusting for the brightness on this. And now when I showed my face, it decided, no, we're not going to show. But you can kind of tell where we have like just the merino sheen, but we have some extra sheen on that. Shows it better probably on the purple. A little extra to the sheen of the merino. So how do we come across this not in sock yarn or novelty yarn? Well, number one, you come across it a lot more than you think because nylon is also polyamide. Polyamide is the generic term for nylon. Nylon is specifically the product that was produced by DuPont, or is produced by the company DuPont. This was the first fully synthetic man-made fiber, and it was developed during World War II. So this is, it's a established synthetic fiber. This is definitely in that established zone here. It is strong, durable, elastic, and it also can draw moisture away from the skin. It is the strongest textile fiber, which is why we see nylon in cordings and ropes and things like that. The tensile strength as well as the abrasion strength of nylon is incredibly high. So if you're looking for something that's going to, like in our cases, knitters and crocheters and spinners, maybe help reduce in things like pilling, which I constantly am talking about, like armpit sweater pilling, having a nylon content in there will help strengthen the yarn just a little bit to reduce it. It's not going to 100% negate wool wanting to pill, because wool does want to felt. And nylon in wool will not stop it from felting. That is way too many W's to say. However, it will reduce it, and it will reduce the odds of, the first time you wear something, you have to get out a cleaner and shave off all your fuzzies. So it is very beneficial in strength and durability. Wool is beautiful and strong in its own. However, when it comes to it, like abrasive strength, a lot of wools are not very durable against that. The shorter the staple length, the softer the yarn, but you also get more floofing, and the nylon can help kind of calm that down just a little bit. It's used in a lot of novelty yarns, like I showed you with the faux fur yarn. Because of the strength of the yarn, it creates a very firm cord through the center of it. So even if you have like a chenille yarn, a lot of times you'll see nylon is the cording used through the center. One of the reasons why I don't like chenille yarn is it's kind of like a regular yarn where you have a center core. It's like a 2-ply yarn. You have a center core that looks like that. And as the machine is twisting the yarn, shots of baby fiber are shot between the twisting yarn. So a lot of times, unfortunately, chenille yarns tend to be made with a very fine center, or they use cotton. And I've noticed, just once again, I've been through the trends 1.5 times now. I've been through the chenille trend now 3 times. And a lot of times those center cords would break if you made anything heavier than like a hat or a scarf. The center core would just snap. And with working with like Bernat blanket and things like that, these chenille yarns are very hard to repair anything like that gets damaged. So I don't particularly care for chenille yarns because of that experience, but I do know a lot of them now are using nylon as the center core for this. This uses a chainette core. I don't know if we can get that to focus. We did. So you can see it's almost like a knitted I-cord almost, but it's a chainette construction through the center with the little floofies tied down in there. And so very strong, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy working with that yarn, is it is a very strong yarn. It doesn't like just snap from the tension of knitting it. So very durable, very strong. There's all these wonderful pros to nylon. It will keep your socks wearing a little bit longer without, having to darn them every time you wear them. However, there are cons to nylon. Nylon is very heat sensitive, so you can machine wash it fine. You need to air dry it or tumble dry on low, because even the drier heat can be too much for nylon, and it can start to degrade and break down. And what that does most of the time, as it degrades and breaks down from washing and drying, is it becomes very brittle. So if you have something where the primary fiber in it is polyamide or nylon, you're going to see that become brittle and snap instead of staying bendable and maneuverable in your hand and your finished object. So it is very heat sensitive. You do want to be very careful about how you are treating items with nylon in them, as far as steaming them, drying them, stuff like that. But it is machine washable, which is a huge pro for a lot of us. So the production process for nylon, a composite liquid is created. I put in my notes, it's a mixed media liquid, but basically a slurry is made of stuff. And I believe nylon sometimes does have a cellulose component. However, it's primarily a chemical slurry. So you have this mixed media goo, and it can be high. It's a high pressure. The spinneret machine, it's like a high pressure machine that like spits it out. But I know I've seen where nylon has been processed in a couple of different ways depending on the application. So it can be extruded, it can be pushed through a spinneret, or it can be, there's a die, kind of like a really fine version of like the Play-Doh machine if you're making short staples to like what you would do with something like this. Instead of making a big spool of it, there's a way of processing it to where you're basically just creating the short staple length. I'm pretty sure that's true. I know the spinneret is true where it spits it out. The dye method, I seem to remember, is also processed for nylon. I know it is for some of the biosynthetics and acrylics. But anyway, it's a fascinating thing that this is a wholly synthetic material. So it's forced through the spinneret thing. And as it's forced through, the air starts to cool it and it starts to solidify. So it's one of the reasons why it's so heat sensitive, is heat is what actually is the process to making it. There's nothing to, it's not like a biosynthetic where you're breaking something down and, you know, dissolving it and turning it into an indissolvable thing. This is a slurry made in heat that's just cooled. So nylon is interesting. I know there are problems with the manufacturing. I know that there, you know, a lot of people in particularly don't want to have synthetic fibers in their clothing. However, nylon is one of those where I'm like, I get it. I really do. But the added benefit that it can offer for a lot of projects, I think, is very valuable as well, too. So it's a fiber. I can see both sides of this. I lean on, I want my things to last because I actually try to use and wear most of the things that I make. So in particular, like the socks that I make, the mittens that I make, the things that are going to, you know, be worn, maneuvered around. You know, like I said, those sweaters where they pill under your arms the first time you wear them. I don't want to have that experience with my finished item. So I would definitely rather have the nylon in there. But I understand, you know, being hesitant with a synthetic fiber. Nylon normally, my understanding, and once again, I could be completely wrong here, but my understanding is nylon has limited off-gassing. It only off-gasses immediately after production. It doesn't just like continue to off-gas. Nylon does break down with heat, which does make it a little bit easier in the disposal and decomposition rates of it, but it's an interesting fiber as far as its ability to hold up to extended wear with proper maintenance. So I would love to hear your opinions down below. The only thing I ask is that, once again, we're kind to each other. We're nice to each other here. I love you guys. I hope you are having a wonderful, fantastic day. As always, I look forward to seeing you real soon. Bye, guys.